Welcome to this edition of the $1 Million Mastermind Podcast. This is where we pick the brains of high achievers from all walks of life and get their hard-earned, real-world insights on winning. I'm your host, Larry Weidel. Well, going back to what you said, the experience you went through when you went into Singapore, when you now get out of working for the big Citigroup, multinational corporation, and you decide, I'm going to go out and now build my own brand, my own name, my own thing. You have to build that credibility all over again, you know?
Yeah.
That's the real struggle. And like you said, that was where you started to learn that what an entrepreneurial has to do, building a business, is totally different than what you saw or you really could understand from the outside. You know, it's like when you live it, it's totally different. And so what were some of the first lessons you learned?
How to fix a printer by myself. You can spend half a day fixing a printer. You can't just ring somebody and ring the help desk and get a technician in to fix the printer, and you use one of the 6 other printers while that one's getting fixed. No, you've got to do that yourself.
Yeah.
So things like that.
And how long did you stay a one-man band? You know, a one-man operation. How long before you were able to have some success and gear up to where you could start adding some support people?
Look, we're still a 2-person operation. We do outsource certain aspects of our business, but essentially this is just myself and my wife running it.
Really?
Yeah.
And so what do you run? How big is your operation now? Where's your impact?
Well, we've got thousands of members. We've taught thousands of people how to navigate markets better and safer and more profitably and with greater confidence and clarity through our online learning programs.
And so how does that work? You created online learning and you advertised, I guess, to let people know this was available.
I haven't spent a cent in advertising. Not a cent. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people who'd like to know how you did that.
Well, it's really thanks to social media, and it's I've got a presence on LinkedIn and I've got a presence on Twitter, and they are really the main channels about how I let people know what I do. But what I've found is on social media, you've got to strike a very generous balance in how you do that. So 95% of my content is designed to educate or guide or inform or even entertain people. And really only 5% is self-promotion.
And when you do self-promote, how does that go about? I mean, you have courses that are evergreen, always running, that people could sign up for.
Yeah, I do. But really what I do is I will offer people an online workshop so that they'll get to come and hear me talk for 60 minutes about a topic on the market, where I'll give away tons of value for free. And if they like me and they want to work with me, they want more of me, I'll let them know how we can make that happen.
And so the courses, is it one course, a lot of different courses? How does that run?
Really, there's 3 main courses that I offer. There's an entry-level course called Options Academy On Demand, which is a 1-year on-demand program. There's a lifetime program called Options Academy Elevate, where people get lifetime access. That's not their lifetime, it's the lifetime of the program. But they also get monthly coaching calls, and it's sort of a little more interactive, that they get a few more modules as well. And then for people who really want to accelerate their success, there's a monthly subscription that I offer, which is sort of like graduate school. If you think of Options Academy Elevate as like the undergrad program, Options Academy Accelerate, it's like the postgrad program, and that's where they'll hear from me every day. They'll get to see the trades that I'm taking, and I send them a market update video every day, or every trading day, and we do bi-weekly webinars with this group as well.
And so talk about how long it took to get this up and running, and what kind of lessons did you learn about what works and what does not work in this space?
So, I mean, I'm still figuring all of that out. To be honest with you, I mean, it's another area in which you never stop learning. It's always iterative.
Well, yeah.
In terms of teaching, I mean, I wrote a book. So I wrote a book called the Tao of Trading, and the Tao of Trading. The name of that book is a tribute to Bruce Lee. He wrote a wonderful book called the Tao of Jeet Kune Do. So the title there is a bit of a tribute. So it's a book on options trading, and you may wonder, well, why does the world need yet another book on options trading? There are already hundreds of them, and I know because I've read a good number of them myself. I had to as part of my job. The thing is with most, if not all, of the other options trading books out there is that they tend to be difficult and boring. And I thought the world needed a book on options trading that was both simple and engaging. And based on the feedback and reviews that I've received, I think I can tick those two boxes. I've had so many people tell me they've read the whole book within a weekend, and it's 342 pages. You know, it's not a booklet, but people seem to find it's written in an entertaining, engaging style. So the book was really, I guess, the foundation for the online program. That was where I drew a lot of foundational ideas from it. I knew the book had worked, and I knew if I drew from that and built from it, I had a good chance of success, and my members would have a great chance of success as well.
And so, what is you've got a bunch of articles. Like when someone reads that book, let's just say you read that book and you race through it. What are you equipped to do?
You are equipped to begin trading options in a safe manner, where if you follow the risk management guidelines in that book, you won't blow up your account. And in fact, you've got a very good chance at starting to grow your wealth. And the book is, I call it the Tao of Trading because it's not just a bunch of setups. It really encompasses everything that you need to become a trader in terms of mindset, getting your psychology right, risk management. I mean, of course, I do share setups. I explain what options are, and then I talk in the end of the book about how to make it all happen, how to write a trading plan, which is like your business plan, and how to keep yourself accountable.
When you've written articles about the game is rigged, how you can close the gap with the 1%, what was your theme of that article?
So the theme of that article was really this was before inflation really became a thing. And I was just warning people about the inflationary underpinnings of the modern monetary system. Now, Bankrate did a survey last year. They found that 57% of Americans couldn't come up with $1,000 for an emergency payment. All right. Now, these are the people who are getting screwed when inflation is high, because they're not getting 6-8% pay rises every year, year after year. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They almost certainly don't have an investment portfolio. They've really got no way of keeping up with inflation. And really the whole point of this article was to just highlight to people that our monetary system has got inflationary underpinnings. Inflation was coming, and you needed to think about ways of protecting yourself against inflation.
Primarily with your investments.
Yeah. If you're an asset owner, you generally do okay in inflation. But if you're a wage earner, you generally get screwed. And that really was what I was trying to highlight.
And what would you think are your biggest observations about the stock market? You wrote an article about 8 key observations about the stock market. And obviously that would be to help inform other people about things they should be aware of that's going on in the stock market. What are some of those?
So being able to identify trends, I think is really key for most people, because it will just, even if it doesn't immediately start making you money, it will stop you losing money. It'll stop you making dumb mistakes. People are in love with the idea of, trying to be Warren Buffett and, buy when blood is running in the streets and, buy low and sell high and all of these things. But they've got no idea if something's in a downtrend, how much further it's got to fall. It is much, much easier if you're a novice investor to buy things that are already going up, because trends develop persistency. And we've got We've got 200 years worth of analysis of trend following as an investment strategy. It's the most proven, it's the most researched form of investing, and yet the average person doesn't pay it any heed at all. And there are some just very basic things you can learn about how to identify trends that will keep you on the right side of the market.
Exactly how I made 204.2% in the NASDAQ this month trading options. That was one of your titles of one of your articles. Imagine that was fairly popular.
Yeah, I mean, it was. That was a YouTube video I put up, just explaining what I did, the steps I did, and just to show, I guess, the power of options. One of the features of options is leverage. Now, leverage means large price movement in relation to a fairly small size of capital. And leverage is usually a double-edged sword. If you're trading futures or foreign exchange or other leveraged instruments, it works for you on the upside, but it works against you on the downside. Options, yeah, I mean, it works against you on the downside to an extent, but options have this unique feature that no other financial instrument has, called an asymmetric payoff. Might sound complex, but asymmetry just means not symmetrical, not the same on both sides. And as it relates to options, it refers to the fact that you've got uncapped upside, but capped downside. So your downside is limited, but your upside isn't. So leverage works in your favor with options much more so than other financial instruments.
How are you? So do you really feel like because of that options is a fascinating place to be if you're going to be investing?
Yeah, I do. I think that options, it's appealing to a lot of people because it is, if you know what you're doing and you're properly educated, you can turn a small amount of money into a much larger amount of money in a few years rather than 30 or 40 years. Now, people like to talk about compound interest. It was Einstein again who said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. But if you're generating 4% per year on a treasury bill, or even if you're generating 10% per year on a diversified portfolio, you either need a lot of money to start off with, or you need a very long runway. All right. If you're starting in your 20s and you got 40 years to go, oh boy, yeah, it can work like magic. But if you've only got 10 or 15 years to go before retirement, and you don't have a large sum of money, it's probably not going to move the needle in your life. And that's where I think people need to break away from the conventional, and do what is slightly unconventional, get themselves educated, and look to compound their returns regularly rather than annually.
And to do that, you would recommend that to do that as a first step. That's why you wrote the book. And then that's why you have the course, and people you can continue to teach people who want that instruction. But a lot of people stay away from the stock market because they just don't want to be watching the markets.
Yeah,
every day.
Absolutely. Yeah,
and living up and down and traumatic and this, and
it's
so
true.
They don't want it to dominate their life, even if it's for a few years, and especially if it hasn't up this point, and it's something you're going to have to learn, and it's going to be something you're going to decide to do so you can be financially independent. How much of an ordeal is it to be trading options on a daily basis?
Well, I think it comes down to priorities. All right. So if earning 10% per annum over the long term on average is sufficient for you, then I would say don't put yourself through the process of learning, because it will take effort and it will be time consuming. This isn't get rich quick. Okay, this does involve time and effort. But if earning 10% per annum, I'm just pulling this number out of the air because it's the average return over the S&P 500 over the long term. If that's not sufficient, what I would say to you is the really good stuff in life is always on the other side of hard. And if you push through that hard, the learning and the effort, the rewards will come. But it's got to be important enough to you to push through it. Otherwise, you won't make it. So yeah, there is learning involved. If you look at my Options Academy, There's over 25 hours worth of content in there. There's over 60 videos. So it's all broke down into sort of bite-sized components. But yeah, there's effort going through that. And you'll probably need to go through it more than once. And then there's effort involved in actually doing the trading. And consistency is a superpower in this game. You've got to show up every day, even if you don't feel like it, even if you've got a cold. You've still got to show up, check your positions, monitor your risk, apply that diligence. But how long does it take? Well, when you've grooved your swing, so to speak, to use a golfing analogy, I reckon it should take you on average 20 to 30 minutes a day. Now, there will be days where it'll take you an hour. There will be other days where it will take you 2 or 3 minutes. But on average, if you spend 20 to 30 minutes a day, you can, in that amount of time, I think really achieve returns that you would have only dreamt about previously.
And this is after you've invested the time to go through the, get your education in this.
Yeah.
This is in the application of it. Thanks for listening to the $1 Million Mastermind. If you felt there were any valuable takeaways from this episode, please take a minute and leave us a 5-star review. Your feedback is important and really helps us get the word out to a wider audience. Remember, we have a valuable webinar that is absolutely free. Register for it right now at whitealumwinning.com. Thanks for listening.